Hi, welcome back to Smoking Cheltenham. Hope you're good. Hope you're having a good week. Got some weekend in prospect, haven't we? Wow. Yeah, yeah, this should be good. Um, yeah, just apologies for last time. I just ran out, didn't I? Just at the end. In case you were wondering, yeah, the third one were down memory lane. Anyway, it should be fun trying to get the top three from this weekend. Should be some good horses in there. So yeah, here we are. Yeah, I bought the dog, kids are at school, tea's it slow cooker, wife's at work, tea. And cooking, I can't cook, I can't cook, but I can follow a recipe, like I can follow a set of instructions. But my God, it says, doesn't it, like, prep time 30 minutes. Yeah, no. Maybe if you're Gordon Ramsay or something like me, like I'm there an hour later, still chopping away. Yeah. It's like them cakes you get from supermarket, isn't it? It says serve 16. It's like, really? Chop it into four, isn't it? Misleading instructions. Anyway, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the upcoming racing this weekend. A few selections in there. I'd say it's kind of difficult. I haven't got so many concrete selections, but it's mainly I'll just sort of give my thoughts, and there might be a few pointers in there for you. Yeah, I mean today I won't spend much on today because you'll have probably already seen it by the time you see this. 307 Tipperary, the 2 mile beginners. We're going to see Mirza West. Wow, and I've not backed him. I mean, you know, last year, he's got this question mark, can't he, going left-handed, and he's on a tight left-handed track today. He should be miles better than them, but I couldn't dream of taking a short price for him, going that way round. But I'm excited to see him. I'd say anything's possible. Yeah, it is. He looks. He's fast. He's really, really fast. He's fast horse. It's a bit of a nutter. He looks to me like one of those horses who could be dynamite over a fence. I'd say he could finish anywhere between second favourite for the Arkle today, or he just could bomb out completely. Anything in between. So, you know, it should be an exciting watch anyway. Anything could happen. I did have a bet at Ascot, but the price has gone now. I backed Nicky Henderson's Break My Soul in the 240. I had a little bit on her last time. She kind of travelled everywhere, looked the winner everywhere, and just got done on the line. And Nicky said after she'd come on a lot for that. So I thought, well, I'll give her another chance next time. But yeah, I mean, she was 72, she was 15 to 8. I couldn't recommend a bet on her at that price. The one's still a price that I've got a bet on today is in the last at Tipperary, the 342, 2 mile 7 beginners. I've gone with Claytus Pool there. He's been backed in a little bit, but last I looked, you can still sort of get sixes 11 to 2. I think is all right at that price. I think that's a fair price. Just looks a bit big to me. In truth, all these horses in here are like, oh, Blue, come on, settle down. You've just been out. There you go. You haven't seen Blue for a while, have you? Yeah. In truth, all these horses look like contenders. I'd say they could make up into contenders for that new 3 mile 6 handicap at Cheltenham. They look them sort of horses. I know the favourite, he bumped into Search for Glory last time, didn't he? Gigginstown horse. So, Gordon's got a fair line on him. I'd expect he'll improve again. Yeah, he's probably a worthy favourite, but he's in no way unbeatable. Like, you know, Cletus Pool, he's just, you know, we followed him a little bit last year, didn't we? I just got in my head he could do really well for like a summer at grass. We could, you know, he's always looked a chaser. He could be quite a lot improved this year, I reckon. If he's there just for the day out today, or he's, you know, really trying, I'm not sure. But I thought at the price it was worth buying a ticket, you know. So yeah, so Cletus Pool today. Then tomorrow, then Punchestown. Wow. Right. 12 o'clock, we've got a 2.5 mile maiden hurdle. There's some interesting looking types in there. Butch Cassidy, that's a class name, isn't it, for Henry. I'm sure the favourite will probably be Saman Zarak. Gordon's, he's 2 from 2 at Punchestown, took out the Goffs bumper last year. Also, you might remember that point-to-point list. There's a horse off there in here, Shuffle the Deck. There's Ted Walsh, JP horse. You may remember I said just shades at any second now. This horse could be a national horse down the line. As such, it's probably a watching brief in this race. But any second now did go in his maiden at 66-1. So, you know, if he gets a silly price, I'll probably throw a bit of change on him, like, you know. I'm gonna have to let her out, Blue. She has literally just been out. I thought she'd be alright. We'll see. Yeah, apologies. Yeah, if he's a big old price, I'll probably chuck a bit of change at Shuffle the Deck, but whatever, it should be a race to watch with interest. Yeah, it'll be worth watching the replays. That's some interesting types in there. Next race, 12:30, we get to see Ballyburn, don't we? Wow, what a weekend, really. Yeah, 2 mile 3 beginners. All eyes will be on Ballyburn here. Does he jump like an Arkle horse or not? Is he going to be more Brown's horse, you know? Yeah, well, you know, we'll learn plenty, won't we? If he just jumps fine, then, you know, we might not know for a long while yet. It could be, you know, Willie, he might just slot in where Willie's weakest in the Arkle or the Browns. I think, you know what Willie's like, he'll keep his options open, won't he, for a while yet. But it'll be great to see anyway, you know. You don't have to have a bet in races, do you, to enjoy them? If you really needed to have a bet here, I'd suggest most of these running against Ballyburn won't be trying so hard. They'll be all out for the handicap marks. Apart from maybe the 2 mares at the bottom, because they've got the mares chase as an option. So if you really wanted to have a bet here, got mispronunciation and only by night, maybe a forecast or something each way on one of those. I'd probably say only by night. Gavin's, yeah, she could win a big race here. Like I say, I suspect the rest, it'll be a race to watch back, because there'll be some likely types of handicaps in behind. Right, the 2:10, 2 mile Grade 1 Morgiana. This is the best Morgiana I can remember. Yeah, tell me a better Morgiana than this. You've got State Man, Lossy Mouth and Brighter Days Head all line up here. at the moment. Hopefully we'll get to see them all. Right, putting my sceptical head on here, you do get a bit sceptical, don't you, as you get older. Willie, if he weren't a racecourse trainer, he would have made a fantastic diplomat. The way he juggles all the owners and the press and trainers, yeah, he's something else. He is. Everyone seems to love him, and his people skills are outstanding. Like, you know. Now, if you remember last year, you know, after Lossiemouth's sort of dynamite performance at Cheltenham, they were a big call for her to run in the champion hurdle, weren't they? And she went the mares. He said champion hurdle this year. Now, hypothetically speaking, we're speaking hypothetically here. If he wants to run Lossiemouth in the mares, he can't really avoid Stateman all year. She go through the season unbeaten, get to Cheltenham. Can you imagine then if he turns round and says, no, we're going mares? If he said champion hurdle all the way, you know, he'd get slaughtered, wouldn't he? He would. So maybe Willie's being a bit clever here, and he's thought, we'll get this out of the way quickly. You know, Stateman puts Lossiemouth away well, and then he can say, well, maybe she's not a champion hurdle horse. You know, mares looks the one. Right, she wants to come back in now. Sorry. One sec. You're right. You're going to settle down a bit now. Alright, yeah, so there is, I've got that in the back of my mind. Like I say, you don't need to have a bet in these races to enjoy them, do you? Another thing, you know, if you follow that line of thinking, I mentioned this to my dad a few weeks ago and I couldn't do it because it's the most soul-destroying double ever. It is a soul-destroying double, but, you know, Stateman, champion hurdle, Lossiemouth mares, it's a possibility, isn't it? But, Jesus, if that happens, it's, yeah, it'll just be sort of soul-destroying to watch, I think, you know. So I hope we don't get there. Patrick's up, isn't he, on Lossiemouth? He's a fair old jockey in the bumpers, to be fair, Patrick, but in these Grade 1 races, he's not for me. Got Danny Mullins there. I mean, why? Just why? Just Danny Mullins, yeah. Patrick, no. Right. Brighter Days ahead's here too, isn't she? To me, 2 mile right-handed, no. Not against a Stateman, no. Even with race fitness, I couldn't be having her on my mind. And I love Brighter Days Ahead, I do. She'll run, she's class, isn't she? But right-handed 2 mile, like that's against Stateman. I mean, Jesus, you couldn't have picked a worse combination, really, could you, for her? So I suppose I'll find out where they stand. Lossiemouth, right. Like I say, you don't need to have a bet. I love Lossiemouth, you know. She could be awesome. We're going to find out plenty tomorrow. For me, I think some big hitters may come out for Stateman here, which will push the price of Lossiemouth out. So my way of playing this, you know, I've left a little bit on it around 7-2 for Lossiemouth on Betfair. If I can get a bit sort of 7-2, I'll just have a small bet on that and enjoy the race. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I guess despite reservations, the selection kind of is a sporting selection for Lossiemouth here. You know, at Cheltenham getting the £7, yeah, I think she beats Stateman. If she can beat him in Ireland, I'm not sure. And I mean, the £7 she gets, I'd say, is kind of negated by Patrick. I'm not, don't mean to be harsh, you know, it's just my opinion. You know, yeah, Danny Mullins, I'd give her more of a shout. But yeah, that's where I am with that race. A tentative vote for Lossiemouth, you know. I couldn't be smashing into Stateman against a horse like Lossiemouth. I mean, I get it, I do. But why? You know, there's plenty of sort of shade odds on chances 4 to 5s, 4 to 6s through season. Why do it against a horse like Lossiemouth? No, I couldn't live with myself, you know, if it went down. So yeah, just a small bit on Lossiemouth would be my way to play that. If you can get sort of 3 to 1 or bigger, I'm sort of hoping for around 7 to 2, and I think you might, because the biggest could come out, like I say, for Stateman. Right, then we close the card off, 325, the bumper. Yeah, we've got Marjack's Hill and Jacob's Ladder and today. Swans up on Marjack's Hill. Wonder if the Curse of the Stone Bruise is going to hit again here. I'd suggest if you can get any sort of decent-ish price about Marjack's Hill, that's the bet. And take the rule 4, and you'll be sat pretty. That's my advice in that race. It's worked splendidly up to now, so we'll try again. Right then, ADOC. Got major. To me, you can't be betting. I'm sorry, but you can't be betting with certainty with these ADOC runners at the moment with such uncertainty over the weather. I mean, the ground is good to soft, good in places at the moment, but they forecast a hell of a lot of rain tomorrow. But it's forecast, isn't it? It's not there yet, you know. Chances are, yeah, it's going to get a lot softer, but you know, you don't want to be gambling on the weather too, do you? Not when you're this close. I'd advise just kind of waiting. So sorry, that's maybe not what you want to hear, but I'll go through it anyway. You know, 150 ADOC, yeah, 2 mile 5 graduation, Iroko's here, you know. I'd say if the rain comes for him, he's a bet. No, you've got reservations there. Like I said, I don't think they want to nudge this fella up £1 for the National. So maybe he's not going to be anything like fit till after Christmas, so he won't be one to go smashing into. You know, you've got to bear that in mind. But he's quite entitled to win this on ratings without going up in the weights. So, you know, it's like that. I mean, his last I looked, he was best 15 to 8. I'd say if you can get round 2 to 1 for him, it'd be worth a small bet there. But you would, you know, you'd want the rain, I'd say. And you have to bear in mind he might be nowhere near fit, you know. But he's far the best horse here. So, you know. It's odds law, isn't it? You know, up to now every weekend it's been fine. And I think, honestly, this weekend looks the kind of trappiest we've had so far. Although, you know, it's fantastic racing. Like I say, you don't need to bet to enjoy it. If you do, I'd suggest mainly to keep stakes small. That's the way I'm thinking at the moment this weekend. It'll probably be the odd exception, like I say, that Marjack's Hill. Yeah, we'll there's any more stone bruisers knocking around there. The 230 then, 3 mile Class 1 handicap. This used to be the fixed brush hurdle, didn't it? And it kind of suited embryonic chasers. There's a horse I really like here, Kerry Hill. Yeah, really impressive last season at Kelso and Donny. In between that, he ran at Cheltenham, ran a fair race in a Grade 2 there behind Shanna Bob. But it was really his performance at Donny in the Grade 2 River Don. Very impressive there. I kind of liked Welcome to Cartridge that day. He did nothing wrong, but this horse slammed him, you know. Destroy the evidence, win behind there, who'd finished, I think, maybe in front of him at Cheltenham. So turn that form round in no uncertain terms. I was fancying this horse sort of long range for that 3 mile Grade 1 Sefton at Aintree, the novice, but didn't get there, must have picked up a knock. This is the first time we've seen him back. Yeah. Name of the trainer, Ruth Jefferson, sorry, yeah. She's in good form. She's 2 from 3 in the last fortnight. So I like him. He may kind of want better ground for him. I've got like 2 I like here, but it depends on the ground maybe, you know. The better the ground, maybe the better Kerry Hill, but you couldn't be definitive on that either. It might be fine on the heavy, but when he won that River Don, it were like decent ground. The other one that catches my eye, well, there's plenty that catch my eye, it's that sort of racing. I mean, this is fiercely competitive handicap, and we know the bookies like these races, so I would suggest keeping stakes small here if you're having a play. The other one that catches my eye is One Big Bang. You know, when you take the jockey's allowance into account, this horse is going to be off 10-2. Now, this is one, if the rains do come and it gets heavy, you know, the heavier it is, the more you'd like his chances, because the more, you know, that's going to give him more of an advantage off that lightweight there. The more of a test it becomes, he's got, like I say, he'll be carrying 10-2. His trainer, Owen, he's in good old form, and it's had 3 runs for him. It's won over course distance in a sort of novice handicap. It won again. They put him away. He looks like he's been laid out for this. He's had 1 run, 2 mile 5, not bad form. Yeah, it looks like he's been laid out for this. Now, I had a look at the prices there. He's proving quite popular at the minute at around 8-1 best price, and Kerry Hill's around 12, so you can get a little bit better on Betfair on both of those. So I've had a little bit on those, but really, you know, like I say, I'll probably have a bit more on one of them, but I want to see what the ground is first. So, you know, tomorrow, sort of once we get racing, I'll probably top up on one. Then alright, the price is probably not going to be what it were, but you know. But it's definitely not a race to be getting carried away with. This, you know, the favourite there is well in it, but coming out Doyen Quest a week after, it's always a question mark with that. Sometimes they get away with it, sometimes they don't. Shoot First just strikes the fear of God into you, doesn't he, if you're betting in this race. Charles Burns, he were well back for the Pertemps. I'd backed him that year. I think he were going to win that, you know. He's had an injury, he's been off a long time, but they would talk about a Stayers Hurdle, you know, for the year after for this horse. Yeah, you'd have to fear him. He sort of had a jog around last time, didn't he? So yeah, and there's loads here. There's loads, like I say. It's, you know, small little play, and they'd be my two sort of selections anyway. Kerry Hill and One Big Bang for that race. Ascot 2:45. This 2.5 mile Grade 2 Ascot hurdle. The going's good there at the moment. Is it going to be good tomorrow? We don't know, do we? Let's say best hanging fire with a lot of these races, I think, until we know. Certainly, if you're having more than a bit of change on. We've got Golden Ace in here, Blue King Daru, Lucky Place, Salva. It looks competitive, doesn't it? You can argue a case for Lucky Place. He's got a nice turnaround at the weights with Golden Ace. Blue King Daru, them connections do very well at Ascot. You'd imagine he's maybe been kind of laid out for this. I can see myself not having a bet in this, to be honest. I ain't got a strong enough opinion at the minute, but it's like this with the racing, isn't it? I kind of look at all the cards, and then my brain takes a while to work. It's like a sieve. All the information goes in there, and then it filters down slowly. And I could look at a race like this, and think I'm not having a bet, and then have a light bulb moment and think, right, so. But I can only tell you where I'm at the moment with. What I would say is, if they had torrential rain and there's any heavy in the ground, I'd be back in Salva. He did the best of the juveniles, didn't he, for England in the Triumph last year? Probably the second best juvenile over here to Sergino. He loves that heavy ground, doesn't he? If it came up that sort of ground, I think Golden Ace had struggled to get home. I'd like Salva. He's around sevens. I mean, maybe if it got you want heavy in the description, and if heavy came in the description, you might be looking more like fives or something. But I'd still play him. Betfair Chase. To be honest, I'm saying I've not really got a strong enough opinion to, I don't want to put you away. Grey Dawning's fairly weak there. You look like being able to get 3-1 or better, and that's kind of tempting. You've got the reservations there. It's not race fit. But again, a lot depends around the ground, doesn't it? The Venetia Williams horse there won it last year. It comes up heavy, but it's short enough. McLace. It's a race, to be honest, I can see myself not having a bet in, but maybe I'll form a stronger opinion later on. I think if Grey Dawning gets to around 7-2, though, I might just have a little bet on Grey Dawning, but it would only be a little bet. But I think the 3 mile would make a big difference, but probably wouldn't want a bog first time out. That'd place more emphasis on fitness, wouldn't it? So if the rains do come, I'll probably stay clear of the race, Sunday then, yeah, that's Saturday. Sunday, Punchestown, right. The 2 mile 5 maiden hurdle at 12:05. Relentless, remorseless, pounded Cato start into submission. The answer is Denman. Iconic commentary. What a horse, what a race. Yeah, loved it. I just watched it back a little bit just to see if I remembered the commentary right. Sent tingles down my spine. It did. What a horse. Denman. Wow. I loved him. Now, Son of Anarchy lines up here, and I thought he looked a little Denman-esque, I won't want to really mention him in the same sentence as Denman. He's won 1 point to point, you couldn't see a great deal of it. The camera work weren't brilliant or anything, but he just, I don't know, he just sort of shades of Denman to me. I think he's that sort of horse. we'll learn a lot more Sunday. Maybe I'm a mile away, like, but I'm excited to see him. It looks a good race. Argento boys in there, Spring de la Mare, the big Westerner, could be something for Henry. It does look a good race, but that means you get a price. I'm back in this sort of anarchy. I am anything from like a shader odds on to, I mean, he might not even be favourite, I like him, I do. I just liked this horse. Like I say, them point to pointers, there were 12, didn't they? I think, the three I really like the look of, he were one of them. Cheltenham, no, probably not. I mean, Denman didn't win at Cheltenham, did he? As a novice, he got beat in the Ballymore, didn't he? This fella might be a bit similar, but he could be very good. He could be, I'll buy a ticket to find out anyway, as long as they don't put him in a silly price. And looking at the lineup there, I don't see why he should be. Like I say, he might not even be favourite, He's coming off a point-to-point Spring de la Mare. And Argento boy, should be put in third favourite here, really. I suspect he won't be, but yeah. Right. And then, there's one more, isn't there? The race of the weekend. It's got to be, hasn't it? Morgiana's bang up there, though, isn't it? Morgiana and the John Durkan, wow. We've been spoilt this year with these two. Yeah, 2 mile, 3.5, grade 1 John Durkan. And my bets are on in this race. Alright. We'll go through this. Factor file. I mean, these are fantastic horses, aren't they? They are. Factor file, no. The reason being, he looks like a horse that's going to need his first run of the season. He did last year. I suspect he will again. Also, this horse, right, he were a bit keen last year, weren't he? Now, if you remember, I think his natural running style, to be honest, this horse is just made for Ryanair. Think Allaho, with that kind of running style. He'd be awesome. He would. If you get whiff any time this season that they don't think this horse is going to stay a Gold Cup trip, just lump on for the Ryanair. If they say he's going Ryanair, it's a lump job. It is. Please gamble responsibly. All that, it's that week, isn't it? Yeah, but you can just see it, can't you? You can see it. He'd have the race shot to pieces, 3 or 4 out. But right, we're looking at the Gold Cup, aren't we? And yeah, why not? I mean, you could have said the same about Galloping, couldn't you? He'd have blown away a Ryanair field if they'd have ridden him that way. But they managed to turn him into a Gold Cup horse. And that's sort of similar with Factor File, who were a bit keen last year. Now, because of that, Willie's saying Gold Cup, he wants a Gold, he's going Gold Cup with this horse, so he's going to try and teach him to settle, which I would suggest is going to hinder his chances a little bit here, because he won't be ridden as positively as you'd like to see over the 2.5. So for those 2 reasons, no, not Factor File, not Sunday anyway. Galloping, no, not Galloping. Best horse in training, but no. It's a sub race, isn't it? It is, yeah. Willie said this horse missed a few weeks. I think he's only just got here, and I think he's running here because he doesn't want to go to Leopardstown first time out this season at Christmas. This is very much to bring him on. to Leopardstown at Christmas, I'd suggest. So no, not galloping. I think he's not going to be fit enough and sharp enough on Sunday. Spillane's Tower, Jimmy Mangans. Love this horse. You know we love this horse. This is how good that race is. Do you know that 10 to follow they're doing the racing post? I think I've got Fat to File, Galloping Deschamps, Spillane's Tower. I know the way you're thinking. Did I put Fast or Slow in? I might have put him in. Yeah, I've got 4 or 5 of my 10 of running here. Like, you know, I only had a 5 on it just for crack, like, you know. But yeah, Spillane's Tower, Jimmy Mangans. No, I think, again, I just don't see him being ready to rock and roll first time out. If you look how he brought him along last season, I mean, he had 7 runs last season. You know, the trip, yeah, fine. You can see him doing well at this trip, but I just don't think he's going to be sharp enough first run back for it, you know. I know the way you're thinking. 2.5 mile, he's jumped sticky early on. I mean, you know, you might well know I like this horse for the National. No, not 2.5 mile at Punchestown first time out. No way. Blue Lord and Manila Kakuna to me are easy. You can easily put a line through them, I'd suggest. Right, so we're doing the Sherlock Holmes method here, aren't we? The sort of process of elimination. So that to me leaves you with 3 horses. And they are Fast or Slow, Grange Clare West and Journey With Me. Right. Fast or Slow has got an obvious chance here. He's not unbeaten at Punchestown, is he? Because he had that first chase run there in this race, I think, you know. But yeah, he's dynamite at Punchestown, and he's got the better of galloping 3 times round here. He's won this race last year. He should be in the fucking King George. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can't knock holes in the guy, can you? The only thing I'd say is when you look at last year's race, really, you know, how good was that form, really, despite the horses in it? These are 3 milers, aren't they? Most of these, they really are, even Fast or Slow, but he's just got a lot of pace, hasn't he? You know, they're just, these top class horses, they can come down in trip, can't they? But 2.5, certainly not his optimum, you know. And he was given a good ride last year. It's not got JJ on, has he? Derek O'Connor, fine jockey, but that'd just be a small negative, you know, not having his normal jockey on, I'd say. Big chance, though, big chance. Grange Clare West. Patrick Mullins on. I was thinking this guy's got a squeak here. He's got fantastic record, fresh, fantastic record round Punchestown. He's got Patrick Mullins. Sorry, I don't mean to be, you know, I'm not like that, but if Danny won this, I'd be really interested, I think. But again, he's probably more a 3 miler, but he's got that bit of class as well. I think he's interesting. He's top price 18 to 1. The negative for him, I guess, would be the jockey, you know. I'm being brutally honest here. And Journey With Me. Yeah. Now, this is his trip. It is. You can look and say Punchestown's maybe not his track. But he ran a fine race last year at Punchestown against these horses at 3 mile. To me, he just didn't get home, but this is his trip. Again, his first time out. How sharp is he going to be? Henry were going to run him a couple of weeks ago, but pulled him on the ground. He's 40 to 1. He's 40 to 1. I've got to have a play on that. I'll be honest with you, right? I would play this. I back Fast or Slow, and I back Journey With Me each way at 40s. So you win bet there, Fast or Slow, and Journey with Me each way at 40-1. Yeah, like I say, last season looked a different horse to me with the tongue tie. He came back late, didn't he? So, you forgave him that first run back. It was well after Christmas against race fit horses, just gave him a sort of run out there. The second time he was really impressive. I mean, he slammed appreciates. He went close in this last year. Obviously you couldn't take that literally, but. And then, they tried to look at 3 miles, see if he's a Gold Cup horse or a Ryanair horse, and they got their answers, a Ryanair horse, not a Gold Cup horse. But he ran really well to 2 out, watch it back at Punchestown, travelled into the race lovely. Back down to 2.5 here. Yeah, he's no 40-1 shot for me, Ian. So, yeah, I back fast or slow, and I back Journey with Me each way at 40s. Grange Clare West, I could literally throw a small amount of change on him if he's something like 20s, and that's a John Durkan. So, possible turn up in this, but fast or slow does look fairly solid. Journey with Me 40s, and that's it then. So my nap of the weekend. I do like that Son of Anarchy, I do, but kind of really nap a horse that could be short, and we've only seen him in a point-to-point, I don't know. I'll make this race, this John Durkan, but I'd have to, we've got 2 selections really, and you might be one of the people that just likes one a race, but yeah, I'd say Fast or Slow for the win and Journey with Me each way at 40s. Could be a big turn up, you never know. Right, it's awesome looking weekend, it is, enjoy it, I'd suggest it's not a weekend to go mad on, say for gambling week and all that, but it's a weekend to enjoy, isn't it? So best of luck for you. I'll be back Monday. We'll look back on it all, and there'll be a lot to look back on, won't there? So I suggest you back a flask or 2. So thanks for your time. Have a brilliant weekend, and I hope you're back some winners. Bye.